What is going on, you guys? Zach here, back with another video. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing, leaving a like on this video, and let's get into it. Today, I'm talking about the reason why we all carry flashlights. You know, some of the good and some of the bad, pros and cons. If you're toying around with carrying a flashlight, this is going to be the video for you. Number one reason we all carry flashlights, and why you should, is because, or at least a dedicated flashlight, is because I hear the argument so often of, I have a light on my phone, why do I need a dedicated flashlight? Because this flashlight sucks. It's awful, it's trash. And because if you're in a dark room, this little puny, measly light isn't going to compare to something of the output like that. You're not going to get that from your phone. You're just not, which is why you should carry a dedicated flashlight. We're going to get into some pros and some cons of what associates that. Some pros are, if we turn off the lights, everything I'm using to light everything right now, you get a very dark space, and the light on your phone isn't going to give you much in the way of anything. But something as small as this i3T EOS from Olight is going to give you so much more light. You can easily light a space with something this small, and then more so with something this big. I could get away with using this as a light. Not going to, because this is quite harsh, but I could get away with that, and you see the difference there. Even something like the Warrior Mini 2 or the Baton 3 Pro, you're gonna get substantially better light performance from any of these lights versus the flashlight on your phone. And so that's the first pro, is you're gonna be able to actually use a flashlight and get 10 times better performance than you would otherwise. Another benefit to carrying a dedicated flashlight is dropped items. If you lose something under a couch, if you're maintaining a knife, anybody in the EDC space, if you're maintaining anything, if you drop something, a paperclip, anything, a flashlight is going to help you find that on the floor so much better than just looking around. Because if you flash a light, you're able to see a lot of those darker spaces. You're going to be able to find that piece so much easier with a flashlight. Another benefit to carrying a flashlight is you have different functions depending on the light that you get. With this Olight Arcfeld, you have the added benefit of a UV light, which, if you want to check the authenticity of those bills, making sure that, you know, if you're doing high monetary transactions, you kind of want to make sure that the money you're getting is real and not counterfeit. A light like the Arcfeld with a UV function gives you that added peace of mind that those bills are real. As well as if you travel, you want to make sure that a hotel room is clean. That UV function will give that to you. But you also have lights that offer red light, which is fantastic in low light settings. If you want to navigate a room, that red light isn't going to interfere with your eyes adjusting to normal light. So if you use a red light, you turn it off, your eyes are still adjusted to the dark, which is awesome. But then you also have lights that have glow in the dark features on them. So if you lose a light, you're able to find it based on that glow in the dark. There are so many options out there that I can't even begin to name all the specifics, but there are lights with multiple functions that are going to give you a lot more than just light output, that are going to help you in other aspects of your life. As well, it's a way to personalize your carry. There are so many options when it comes to flashlights that if you wanted to, you could probably get a flashlight that nobody else has. And that's a way to personalize your carry to yourself. Everybody has their preferences, everybody has their choices of what they prefer. And so carrying a dedicated flashlight is just one extra piece of gear that you can use that's going to benefit you. It's going to give you a lot of functions to help you through your day and your life. But on top of that, it's gonna give you the personal option that we all look for. You know, everybody has their favorite, their knives, their tools. Everybody has their favorite options, and you have the typical, you know, you have your Raylight Pineapple Minis. You have all of these go-tos for a lot of people, but there are so many hidden gems and things that people don't really consider when they're looking at EDC options. Go down those rabbit holes, go down those options to make your carry your own personal carry, and something that's to benefit you in the long run as well. Now on the flip side, we talked about some pros, let's talk about some cons. Cons of carrying a flashlight is that's one extra piece of gear that you have to carry with you. And especially with something like this. This flashlight's massive. There's no getting around that. That is the size of my hand as far as length goes. That is no easy piece of gear to carry, and I understand that. I get that size can be a restriction, and especially weight too when you get into some of these bigger lights. I get that. So that is one thing you might have to consider when getting into carrying a dedicated flashlight. Like I just talked about, they can be on the bigger end, depending on your preference when it comes to lumen output and all of those things. You might have to sacrifice some of that space and some of that added weight for the function that you're wanting. It comes with all of these options when it comes to flashlights. The higher outputs tend to be a little bit bigger, also a little bit more expensive, which brings me into my next point is some of these flashlights can get pretty expensive. This Warrior Mini 2, I want to say it was about $60 or $70 when I bought it. This Baton 3 Pro Max is $100 when I bought it. This Warrior 3S is $120. These aren't cheap things, but those three are probably my favorite flashlights because of the functions and because of the outputs that they give. Everything gets expensive. Knives, tools, anything in life, the nicer it is, the odds are the more expensive it is. And that's just how things go. That's the way that life is. That's the game that you play when you get into these hobbies and when you get into anything really. And for some people that can be a con, but there are so many added benefits to carrying a flashlight with you every single day. And if you haven't considered doing so, I would recommend putting that on the list of things to add to your EDC or things to add to your carry, because honestly, the pros outweigh the cons. And if you don't believe me, this light is 20 bucks. Go ahead, pick yourself up one, try it out, try carrying it, and you will be surprised at the amount of times that you actually use it and the amount of things that having a flashlight come in handy for. As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and what lights are you guys running in your EDC? Let's have a conversation down in the comments. Let's spark some ideas for some new gear. And with that being said, until next time, peace.